How to command respect without saying a word. Who truly holds power? The one who speaks the loudest, or the one who controls the room without saying a word? Most people assume power belongs to the loudest voice, the one who dominates conversations, the one who forces attention. But the reality is different. The most respected and dominant people in any room aren't the ones constantly talking. They are the ones who master silence and presence. Think about the most powerful figures in history: Julius Caesar, Marcus Aurelius, even modern leaders like Vladimir Putin. Did they gain respect by speaking endlessly? Number. Their power wasn't in words, it was in their presence. A presence that made people stop and listen. A presence that made every word they spoke carry weight. And if you look around, you'll notice something. The people who demand attention rarely get respect, but the ones who control a room without effort, they have a presence you can't ignore. Why? Because silence commands attention, because restraint signals confidence, because those who don't seek validation become the ones others seek approval from. Here's the truth. If you master the silent power, you will command respect without saying a word. But how do you do it? How do you walk into a room and make people feel your presence without uttering a single word? Let's break it down. Mastering the silent power isn't just about staying quiet. It's about understanding what makes people respect you before you even speak. And that starts with one crucial skill: mastering how you react to the world around you. Because in any social dynamic, the person who controls their reactions controls everything. Let's start with the foundation of dominance: learning to be non-reactive. History has always favored the loud and the bold, or so it seems. But if you look closer, the most powerful leaders weren't the ones who spoke the most. They were the ones who knew when to be silent. Take Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the greatest military minds in history. And when he finally spoke, his words weren't just heard, they shaped entire wars. And then, he would speak last, using their words against them, turning their own arguments into weapons. That's strategic silence, a tool that doesn't just demand attention, but commands power. Now let's go even further back. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, followed the same principle. He believed that speaking less wasn't just a discipline, it was a form of self-control. He once wrote, he believed silence wasn't just discipline, it was a weapon of control. And it worked. By mastering restraint, he became one of the most respected, stable, and unshakable rulers in history. And this is where most people go wrong. They talk too much. They feel the need to fill every silence, to justify themselves, to be heard. But in doing so, they weaken their own presence. Because here's a psychological truth. When you speak less, people listen more. When you don't chase validation, people seek yours. This isn't just an idea. It's a psychological strategy used by leaders, CEOs, and power players throughout history. And today, you're going to learn how to command respect through silence, presence, and controlled communication. Let's start with the foundation of all power: the ability to control your reactions. 6 strategies mastering silent power and dominance. 1. Why emotionally reactive people always lose power and how to stop it. The moment you react emotionally, you give your power away. In any social interaction, whether it's a confrontation, a negotiation, or a casual conversation, the person who reacts the least holds the most power. Why? Because reactivity is weakness. It signals that your emotions can be controlled by external forces. But when you show no reaction, you send a clear message. I am in control. You don't dictate my emotions. And this is why some of the most dominant figures in history are masters of non-reactivity. Example, Vladimir Putin, the cold negotiator. Vladimir Putin is known for his calculated silence in high-stakes negotiations. When others raise their voices, he lowers his. When they try to get a reaction, he gives them nothing. And what happens? They become uncomfortable. They start second-guessing themselves. Because when someone expects an emotional response but gets silence instead, it shatters their confidence. Applying this in real life. Imagine someone insults you or challenges your authority. Most people's instinct? Fire back, get defensive, or try to prove themselves. But the moment you react emotionally, they win. Now, what happens when you pause, hold your gaze, and let their words echo in the silence? They become uneasy. They scramble to justify themselves, because silence exposes insecurity. They lose their power over you. How to apply this today? Next time someone challenges you, pause for 3 seconds before responding. Let them feel the weight of the silence. Plus, if someone insults you, smile and walk away. This unsettles them more than any comeback. Plus, in negotiations, use silence as a weapon. Let the other person fill the void. They will start talking more and often reveal more than they should. But presence isn't just about how you react. It's also about how you carry yourself. Let's talk about the silent dominance of body language. 2. Mastering body language, how to exude power without saying a word. People listen to your presence before they listen to your words. Before you even speak, people have already decided whether they respect you. Example, Jeff Bezos. Bezos doesn't just stay quiet, he lets others reveal everything first. By the time he speaks, he already knows what they need, what they fear, and what they want from him. By the time he finally says something, everyone is listening. Why? Because he doesn't chase attention, he lets it come to him. Example, the power pose of world leaders. Have you ever noticed how US presidents always stand with their feet wide apart, shoulders squared, and chins slightly lifted? That's not an accident. It's a dominance tactic. It signals strength, confidence, and control. And the best part, you can do it too. How to apply this today? Plus, stand tall. Most people shrink themselves. Don't. Own your space. Plus, eye contact, hold steady, don't look away first. It's a subtle sign of dominance. Plus, use purposeful hand gestures. Never fidget, never rush. Slow movements equals controlled presence. Now let's take this even further. Imagine having the ability to make people uncomfortable without saying a word. That's the power of strategic silence. 3. The psychology of silence. How to control any conversation without talking. Silence is uncomfortable, and that's exactly why it gives you control. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill it, to explain themselves, to avoid the awkwardness. But those who understand the power of silence, they use it to dominate conversations, negotiations, and social dynamics. Example, Steve Jobs' mastery of the pause. Steve Jobs wasn't just a genius with technology, he was a master of communication. During his keynote presentations, he would often pause for several seconds after delivering a major point. And what happened? The audience leaned in. The weight of his silence made every word that followed feel 10 times more important. Example, the silence tactic in interrogations. This isn't just for interrogation rooms. In business, in negotiations, even in everyday conflict, people hate silence. And when they rush to fill it, they expose themselves. They start filling the silence, often revealing more than they intended, because when the brain expects noise but gets nothing, it panics. How to apply this today? Plus, pause for 2 to 3 seconds after key points. This forces people to hang on to your words. Plus, when debating or negotiating, stay silent after someone finishes speaking. Let them feel the tension. They will often keep talking and expose their weaknesses. Plus, if someone pressures you for a response, don't answer immediately. Hold their gaze, take your time, and let them feel the weight of the moment. But silence alone isn't enough. To truly command respect, you must also master the art of selective speaking. 4. Say less, gain more. The power of strategic speaking. The more you talk, the less valuable your words become. The less you say, the more weight they carry. The ability to speak less but say more is a rare and powerful skill. Example: Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who spoke with precision. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic leaders, lived by this principle. Only speak when necessary, and when you do, say little but with impact. Example: Robert Greene's law of power. The less you say, the more people speculate. They fill in the gaps with their own assumptions, often overestimating your intelligence and influence. Why? Because mystery breeds curiosity and respect. The more you reveal, the more predictable you become. But when you say less, people pay more attention to what you do say. How to apply this today? Plus, before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Does this add value? If not, stay silent. Plus, master the one-sentence response. A short, controlled answer is more powerful than long explanations. Plus, never over-explain yourself. If someone asks why, simply say, "Because that's what I decided," and leave it at that. Now, let's take this a step further. Beyond words, there's another layer to dominance: the ability to control a room simply with your presence. How to command any room with pure presence, no words needed. You don't need to be loud to be noticed, you just need to own the space. People assume dominance comes from words, from commanding attention. But in reality, the strongest individuals don't demand respect, they attract it. Example: Muhammad Ali. The silent intimidation. Muhammad Ali wasn't just a master in the ring, he was a master of presence. Ali won half his fights before the bell even rang. His opponents stepped into the ring already doubting themselves, because his presence alone made them question if they could win. He stood tall, moved slowly, held eye contact, and said very little. And that silence, it got inside their heads before the fight even began. Example: Jay-Z in business meetings. Jay-Z barely speaks in business negotiations. He listens, absorbs, and then, when he finally talks, his words hit harder. Because when someone rarely speaks, their words command more weight. How to apply this today? Plus, control the pace of your movement. Most people rush, don't. Move with intention. Plus, enter a room and pause for 2 seconds before moving. This forces people to notice you. Plus, never fidget. Fidgeting signals nervousness. Stillness, on the other hand, that signals power. But presence alone isn't enough. There's one more layer to dominance, something that makes people drawn to you, even when they don't understand why. That's the power of mystery. 6. The power of mystery. Why keeping people guessing makes you more respected. People are drawn to what they don't fully understand. Humans are wired to seek answers, to fill in gaps. And if you become slightly unpredictable, slightly unknowable, people will obsess over figuring you out. Example, Elon Musk's cryptic tweets. Elon Musk often tweets vague, cryptic statements, and what happens? The world deciphers his every word, trying to understand his next move. The result? Constant intrigue. Example, Keanu Reeves, the actor. No one can figure out. Keanu Reeves barely reveals anything personal. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't seek validation. And because of that, he becomes infinitely more interesting. How to apply this today? Plus, say less about yourself. Let people wonder. Plus, when asked about personal matters, give vague but intriguing answers. Example, instead of, I work in marketing, say, I make things more interesting. Plus, be unpredictable. Disappear occasionally, then reappear stronger. Now, let's tie everything together, because when you master silence, presence, and mystery, you don't just gain respect, you become unforgettable. Master silent power and dominate any social situation. What's next? By now, one thing should be clear. Power isn't about volume. It isn't about dominating conversations or proving yourself with words. It's about control. Control over your reactions. Control over your presence. Control over how others perceive you. Let's recap the key tactics that give you silent power. Plus, non-reactivity is dominance. The less you react, the more control you have. Stay calm, let others reveal themselves, and never be easily provoked. Plus, your body language speaks before your words. Stand tall, control your movements, and own the space without saying a word. Plus, silence is power. Use it wisely. Pausing before speaking, letting others fill the void, and strategically holding your words makes people respect you more. Plus, mystery makes people drawn to you. The less you reveal, the more people will seek your approval and attention. Mastering the silent power isn't just about respect, it's about control. And those who control themselves control everything. But this is just the beginning. Because silence alone isn't enough, you also need to understand the hidden psychology of control. Right now, most people live in reaction. They talk too much, explain too much, and give away their power without realizing it. But now you know the truth. Will you use it, or will you stay like everyone else?